Central Texas once again being hit with heavy rain. How it's affecting rescue efforts with more than 160 people still missing. And a new provision in President Trump's spending bill will change how gamblers can deduct their losses. What you need to know before you place a bet.
We'll continue to see some spotty storms overnight, and another round of scattered showers and storms is expected for your Monday. Full details on the week ahead are coming up in your 11-day outlook.
With the 26th pick of the 2025 MLB Draft, the Philadelphia Phillies select.
Plus, Razorback history made in this year's MLB Draft. When and where Gage Wood and Vahiva Loy will play pro ball. Good evening, and thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Brooke Buckner here with meteorologist Simone Thomas. And Simone, we've seen and heard some strong storms pass over the station here in downtown Little Rock. How long are we expecting this to last tonight?
Well, we will continue to see some scattered showers and storms at least until just after midnight. We'll get a little bit of a break in the morning before the next round of storms possible tomorrow afternoon. Here is what that looks like across the state, definitely across that southwestern into central Arkansas corridor. We're starting to see some storms moving into northeastern Arkansas as well. We'll continue to watch this complex of storms move north and east through the state overnight. Over the past 6 hours, so since earlier this afternoon, we have seen the heaviest rainfall across some of southwestern and west central Arkansas. We have flash flood warning in effect for portions of Garland and Saline County until 10:30. And again, as we continue overnight here in central Arkansas, looking to see some of those storms continuing until just after midnight. We'll see another round before day tomorrow morning with a little bit of a break during your morning rush hour. There'll be some opportunities for rain tomorrow afternoon. Another look at the week ahead is coming up later on in the show.
Thank you, Simone. Tonight, some of the areas struck by deadly flooding in central Texas are now facing more heavy rain, and it's leading officials to suspend search and rescue operations. The National Weather Service warned areas near the Lampasas River of potential flooding after the river rose 33 feet in just 4 hours. And Kerrville was under a flash flood watch for most of the day. This morning, people there were urged to move to higher ground and avoid driving through floodwaters. Those suspended search efforts means families may have to go another day before their loved one is found. Andrew Moore is in Kerr County with reaction from neighbors, as many are still on edge after last week's flooding.
I've gotten phone calls, you need to leave, the water's coming up again today.
Patty Hyatt knew she was out of the water's reach this morning, but there was a good reason her family was concerned. On July 4th, that flooding grabbed her RV and took it down the river. She's alive because her son called her that morning and made sure she got to safety.
And he said, Mama, I said, get in that truck and get out, and I'm not getting off the phone until you do.
As she got the alerts today and again visited the place she once called home, Hyatt says the same thing keeps coming to mind.
And then again, I think of it sounds terrible, the people that don't get to come back.
Mateo Mata was also checking on loved ones this morning while trying to avoid low water crossings.
It was just kind of like, uh-oh, here it comes again.
The new alerts felt like an aftershock to an already unimaginable week.
Coming in, I could feel the thickness in the air, like the sadness in the hill country. You know?
Because while the river didn't rise as much as expected today, there are still miles of destruction left behind and a lot of work ahead.
4th of July will never be the same around here.
And one Arkansas group called Sheepdog Impact Assistance has made its way to the area, and alongside nearly 100 volunteers, the group is also sending 4 vehicles and 3 trailers full of supplies, including water, dog food, canned goods, and outdoor items. But this mission goes beyond just physical aid.
When something like this happens, it's the heart, it's the mission, the drive that we want to go and help. I mean, if we're bringing anything, it's hope to everybody that's been affected.
A flood warning remains in effect for Kerr County through tomorrow morning. No word yet on when officials will resume search efforts. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders approved an extension yesterday on the Arkansas National Guard's assistance mission in Central Texas. 22 soldiers and 4 Black Hawk helicopters have been helping transport search and rescue teams since July 8th and will continue until next Sunday. Tonight, a lingering mystery remains as 1 year ago today, Thomas Crooks opened fire on President Donald Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Investigators say he was a 20-year-old with no history of political violence, and his professors say he was a star student who was on a path for success. But in the months before the incident, he was seemingly living two lives, as CBS News uncovered emails showing he applied to transfer to a 4-year engineering program while designing a bomb at the same time. In between emails about school, Crooks ordered a chemical compound called nitromethane, which is flammable and explosive. Then on December 6, 2023, internet logs show Crooks scanning a web page about Trump and 1 minute later, reading about AR-15s. A year later, the president now faces growing scrutiny for the actions of a number of cabinet members. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem was on Meet the Press, where she defended a recent policy she established, making it necessary for her to approve any contract more than $100,000, which critics say is adding time and red tape to disaster recovery in Texas.
It's discouraging. It's discouraging that during this time when we have such a loss of life and so many people's lives have turned upside down, that people are playing politics with this.
She's also defending Attorney General Pam Bondi after she said there is no Epstein client list, infuriating a number of the president's followers who had pushed for an investigation into his activities. A new federal tax rule could change how some gamblers report their winnings and losses. It's part of President Trump's big, beautiful bill, and while most casual players won't be affected, one Arkansas casino says they're still paying close attention to how this could impact a small group of customers and betting on legislation to get it reversed.
Bet Saracen is the 13th largest online sportsbook in the United States. Each year, they take in over $300 million in wagers.
Do we take large bets? Yeah. We've had people bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on a given game. But the key here is our tens of thousands of active users every month are what I would consider casual, low-dollar recreational bettors.
But starting in 2026, a new tax rule from the Big Beautiful Bill will cut into gamblers' ability to write off their losses. Under the law, they'll only be able to deduct 90% of their losses, up to the amount they win. That's a change from the previous rule, which allowed a full 100% deduction. Carlton Safa, Chief Market Officer at Saracen Casino Resort, says this new rule won't deal a bad hand to most of their users.
If you're the kind of guy that makes a bet, a couple of bets on Sunday on the NFL and a couple of bets on Saturday on college, the likelihood of this having any real tax implication on you is basically zero.
In fact, Safa says only a dozen or so players at their casino would likely feel the impact.
And that represents a fraction of our bets. So the bottom line is, this is not ruinous on the industry. It's probably going to affect a handful of bettors in Arkansas. But despite it all, we care about that handful of bettors.
Still, the casino isn't just folding on this. They're throwing their support behind a new bill from Representative Dina Titus of Nevada, a member of the Congressional Gaming Caucus.
They are our customers and some of our most important customers. And it's with that vein, I will tell you, we do support Representative Titus's legislation, which is currently headed to the Ways and Means Committee in Congress, which would restore the deductions to 100%.
As for lottery winners, state officials say it's rare for them to claim losses against their winnings. As a result, this shouldn't have an impact on players. This new rule goes into effect January 1st. As Arkansas prepares for a ban on certain hemp products, regulators are working with members of the industry to get ready. The products in question are those that contain substances like Delta-8 and Delta-9, which are often considered dangerous for their intoxicating nature. A federal judge recently upheld a state law that bans the products marketed in the gray area between marijuana and hemp. And this week, lawmakers needed to go back over the rules that gets them off store shelves.
Gone just over 1,500 permits that our agents have visited, performing courtesy visits, just advising them of the ruling and that these products are going to become illegal very soon, directing them to remove them from their stock immediately.
Other products in the hemp family, like CBD, that are often marketed for medicinal qualities likely won't fall under the ban. Another bill lawmakers are discussing is the Genius Act. It would establish a regulatory framework on the $250 billion market for stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency tied to the value of an asset like the U.S. dollar. Congressman French Hill was on Face the Nation this morning and said it's important to protect both investors and consumers.
What we've had is a mismatch of rules by enforcement in the Biden administration, and I believe the bills we'll have on the House floor this week will protect investors, consumers, and make America, as President Trump wants, a leader in financial technology and crypto and digital assets innovation.
The legislation passed the Senate in a 68-30 vote last month, and as you heard from Congressman Hill, it will be discussed in the House this week. The double homicide trial of 27-year-old Cooper Wesley will resume in Crawford County tomorrow. Wesley is accused of killing his father, 57-year-old Terry Bassel, and Donald Lewis in 2023. On Friday, the jury listened to testimony from more than a dozen witnesses called up by the prosecution. But the prosecution has presented conflicting information on the timeline of the events, specifically related to the time Wesley stole a gun and when the murders happened. Wesley claims he was in a drug-induced state during the time of the murders. If convicted, Wesley could face life in prison. We're still waiting on when a new hearing for former Arkansas doctor Brian Hyatt will take place. The former psychiatrist was supposed to be in court Friday as a judge determined whether he should be prohibited for drinking. A judge waived his appearance in Pulaski County Circuit Court, and as of now, court records do not show a new hearing date.
The week ahead is going to start out on an unsettled note, and things change by the middle part of the week. Your full 11-day forecast is coming up in 5 minutes, so make sure you stick around.
And it's never too late to start thinking about what to get your loved ones for the holidays. We'll give you tips on how to save dollars for the holidays.